At Football Diehard, he has a pinned Twitter, a pinned tweet, and it is about all the weight that he had lost when he dedicated himself to eating right, exercising, and he's got a before and after picture on there. Inspiration to me, to you, anybody who's trying to lose weight, anybody who's trying to,
I'm not trying to lose weight right now.
Be the best version. Well, I am. I'm trying to be the best version of yourself, and that's inspiring. At Football Diehard. Thanks so much, Bob, for calling in tonight. All right, let's.
Hey, what's up, Hawkward?
At the 254, you're on the HSFF Hour with David Balky. Who are we talking to now?
Ingram, Mahomes. For
Hey, this is Victor Rogers from Richmond, Virginia.
Victor, you are watching the draft unfold in front of you tonight. This is the 6 Pros versus Joe's draft. What's on your mind as you see this action?
I'm doing my first FFPC draft, and I've been kind of trying to pay attention to what the experts are doing. I'm just looking and probably going to steal a couple of ideas from you guys. Wanted to share with you my first 3 picks and get your 2 cents on what you think I should do with my 4th. I'm picking up the 4th round, if that's all right.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I picked, I'm picking number 2. So at 102, I went Patrick Mahomes. Then I went George Kittle. And then I went Joe Mixon. And then I went George Kittle.
Devontae Freeman.
So coming up in 9 picks, I'm thinking.
Man, I really like the Jones pick, Tyson.
Dynasty League, should I go ahead and lock down?
I really like that Jones pick.
More kind of stack to get my wide out. Or should I go ahead and get another quarterback? I was thinking since it was dynasty.
Yes, but I mean, they're like right there. They're right there. They're right there in the grouping, so it's like perfect. And
but
I think Jones is definitely safer for best ball too.
0.5 premium, but I saw him falling to 302 with a 2.
Maybe I think maybe personally like
scoring out people watch this to be sure.
doesn't matter. That's why we're here, right?
Oh no,
That's right.
Okay. Well, let me rephrase that. It's a super.
Stephon Diggs at 312.
Half point PPR. Tight end.
Okay, super. Okay, I got you. So Mahomes, Mixon, Kittle. I'm a huge fan of DJ Moore, so I always like that option. What other choices do you kind of have? What were you thinking of?
As far as quarterbacks, what quarterback would you be looking there if you don't go with those receivers?
Probably Lamar Jackson. I really want Lamar Jackson or Dak because I kind of feel like those running quarterbacks do damage. Plus, since it's a best ball format, I don't necessarily have to worry about when to put them in.
Sure. How many quarterbacks are gone other than Mahomes?
All right, let's
about
see.
like 12, 15 range.
Let me look.
Hey, what's up, Keith? What's up, man?
More Jackson.
Do what, bud?
Well, I'll say this, Victor, and I'm not the biggest quarterback guy, even in Superflex, but I will say if DJ Moore or Chris Godwin is there for you here at that 4, 5, 10, I think they would both be excellent choices. I do like Lamar Jackson for what it's worth. I think he's going to be a better fantasy quarterback than NFL running back, and if you can start him and Mahomes every week, I think there's a certain advantage there. I don't know if all 3 of those guys will be available, so this decision may be made for you. I think Prescott would be a solid choice there as well, no question. If all 4 of them were somehow available, I think maybe, Dave, you go with maybe Lamar Jackson or Prescott, and then try to get DJ Moore as well. Go with Moore first, and then whatever quarterback's left for you in the 5th round.
Well, obviously see who is available. This is the 4th pick, so see what the number 1 team has for its first 3 picks.
Right.
That's another route.
Yeah.
Something you have to do.
Does that help out, Victor?
Yeah, the guy I got, and I noticed this in another draft I did, that there's a guy, he keeps trading all his picks away to pick up first-round picks, and he hasn't made any picks yet, but he has like half of the first round next year, so, he keeps trying to trade me for my first, but I don't get why people do that, but I don't think he's going to be picking. He's going to probably trade out of that pick.
It's entirely possible. Well, listen, we wish you good luck in that draft. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you.
I got Ted watching. He's a Packers fan. He was like, Aaron Jones. Yeah, he loves the Packers,
Thank
man.
you so much. I appreciate that. Victor in Richmond, the Uber driver to the stars in Richmond, Virginia. Always appreciate him popping on to share with us what is going on with his drafts, and I think we helped him out there. I'd like to think we did anyway.
We didn't hurt him too much.
We didn't hurt him. That's a good point of looking.
Okay.
We are hurting the listeners because we've
I'm
gone
liking
around back. Let's get
some of
back
the
to
movement.
round 2 here as Eric Moody from Fantasy Data leads off round 2 with Dalvin Cook, Michael Thomas, Stu Rissinger, and Gitta.
I definitely like Mahomes right there, too.
Armani with the third pick of the second round. Zach Ertz is the tight end 2 off the board, and he is.
No, I'm just saying, like,
that is
for us, man, for sure.
Discarecki and Clement, the FFPC goes in the 9th spot tonight. Antonio Brown is the second wide receiver drafted by Rob Wozniak from Fantasy Footballers. It is Tyreek Hill and Antonio Brown. What's the rating on the slate with Tyreek Hill?
All right, we're coming up.
Is Tyreek Hill not rated on the slate scale? I don't think we've attacked
Let's
him there.
see. 1, 2, 3.
Now you are on the clock.
All right, hold on. Brandon Cooks just went.
Right.
You know, you probably put him in the
Jeez.
3 range.
What's the Christmas wins?
3 range is probably where he was.
Okay, all right.
There's still a lot of,
4 wide receivers.
Right. So there's a big snowdrift there with a couple of flakes there.
Galladay,
Hill and Brown with
Galladay, Cohen, or Mark
See
Ingram.
what happens there. Joe Mixon to Chris Carlson here at the 206, followed by Nick Chubb. You heard Bob Harris make that pick live on the air from Football Diehards. Todd Gurley goes
We have
to Todd
Hopkins,
Diablo
don't forget.
here tonight at the 208. George Kittle is tight end 3 to Mike Nazareth from FF Mastermind. James Conner to Chad Stoner at the 210.
I think we got Mark Ingram.
Josh ADHD here at the 211, and the final pick of the second round is one Melvin Gordon, Wisconsin Badgers alumnus, I believe. Melvin Gordon goes at the 212 to Dave Sherman tonight. So
All
that's
right, we're
really
staying
interesting. I think
on. So we're still in that tier. Plenty of tier guys for wide receivers left. Holy shit, we're way good there.
Drafters, the FFPC best ball over the last 3 days, the latest he has gone has been the 308. On average, he is going at the 209. So that is where the Houston is falling in on that. A little bit of a value there for Dave Sherman getting Melvin Gordon at the 212 tonight. Now, last night we saw George Kittle go to Peter Overzet as the tight end 2 over Zach Ertz. That is the opposite of what we see tonight as Ertz goes before Kittle tonight, which I think is sort of what we've been much more accustomed to. And I'll move on from there as nothing else really stands out to me in the second round other than things I've already talked about. Let's get into the 301 here. That's Dave Sherman going running back, as he gets Kerryon Johnson at the 301, Amari Cooper to Josh Hornsby here with the second pick. Chad Schroeder also going with 3 straight running backs. He is the second team to go running back tonight. He gets Damian Williams at the 303. Nice little value there. As he,
Schrader took O.J. Howard. I like it. Nice pick, Chad.
Off the draft tonight. Keenan Allen,
very nice pick.
Drafted by Michael Nazareth. And then Aaron Jones, you heard Bob Harris talk about why he liked that pick to Coward and Yarborough here. Harris then going with Adam Thielen, as he said he would. Leonard Fournette is the third running back drafted by Chris Carlson. Chris Carlson is the third team tonight.
All right, tight end runs happening right now.
Start off their draft with
Hunter Henry, O.J. Howard.
Sneaking in as the tight end 4 tonight to Rob Wozniak. So he goes receiver, tight end, and it is Evan Ingram, not O.J. Howard, who actually just ran off the board. We'll get to that in a second. Patrick Mahomes goes way earlier tonight than he did last night. I believe he was like a late 5th, mid-5th round pick. Early 5th, okay. So he, I guess not way earlier. He goes at the end of the third tonight. That's way earlier. That's still round and a half. Yeah, okay. All right, so Mahomes goes there to Gorecki and Clement.
Oh my God,
309.
Holy shit, DJ Moore.
Darren Armani at
412, that's nuts.
310. Devonta Freeman, Rich Rissinger, and Lou Ginnett.
I don't like that pick at all.
The number 1 running back is 311. And then we wrap up the round with Stephon Diggs at the 312 tonight.
I don't like that pick at all.
Eric Moody from FantasyData.com. Thank you, Dave. So that is your wrap up. What do you make with of the Evan Engram over O.J. Howard? I'm curious on this because we've kind of separately talked about Engram and we've separately talked about O.J. Howard. We haven't really talked about if you're making the decision between the two, which one you would rather have. Now, FFPC draft have these guys fairly close over the last 3 days, with O.J. Howard going on average at the 407, Evan Engram going on average at the 409. David, you were in a tight end league like the FFPC. Who would you be taking at tight end if you narrowed your choices down to Evan Engram or O.J. Howard?
I would probably roll Ingram, actually, oddly enough. You look at the teams and you think the Giants are.
They liked our,
They might not be, though, because.
they really liked our Aaron Jones pick, it sounds like.
Ingram really is going to command targets. Howard has competition for targets. He really does.
Not that I care, but.
Third mule there. Ingram might be number one target on that team, even when all those guys come back.
Yeah.
I think Ingram's a play for me.
I think Sigmund Bloom on
Tyler
the
Lockett.
Football Guys podcast was talking about how we can just see things go week to week in that Giants offense. It could be an Ingram week, it could be a Barkley week, it could be a Shepard week. When
All right,
gets back. It could
I
be a
see
State
one
week
pick,
when he gets back.
two
That might
guys.
just be, what we've seen. I did like
We'll discuss
the
after this pick,
but
but
Roto World blurb about Eli Manning taking some first team reps, with the Giants. Roto World said the Giants want to get Daniel Jones some work, but they want to see what they have in Eli Manning first.
So they're being cheeky?
Yes, it was a very cheeky comment, which I appreciated.
Yeah, that's good.
So that is where we fall in on those two tight ends. I think I like Ingram better, even though he is going a little bit later than Howard, for the points that you made, and the Bruce Arians effect too of just, they may be the most talented tight end Arians has ever had, but Arians has not really made a point of featuring his tight end in his offenses in the past too. So something to be wary of, no question. Moving on into the fourth round, Chris Godwin to Eric Kennedy
you are on the clock.
Receiver, so he gets three receivers.
Tyler Boyd.
4 picks. Rizinger.
100%, baby!
yeah, that one came
Going to
through.
the balance effect as they get Josh Jacobs,
Baby.
2 wide, 2 receivers, as does Darren Armani. Now going to
I like that pick.
at the 403.
That tier fall. Yeah, we
Yeah.
switched tiers after that pick on receiver.
So
Damn.
Hilton, just to let everybody know. Well, no, but he's falling in the middle now.
Now, a little bit. I'm no you.
Yeah.
Andrew walked out of practice the other day.
Yeah, okay, let's wait until he goes off the board and we'll talk a little bit about him. But T.Y. Hilton falls to the 403. His ADP over the last 3 days is 305. So that's a little bit more than a half round of value there.
What's Marlon Mack ADP?
Marlon Mack, over the last 3 days in FFPC best ball drafts, those drafters have been taking him on average, Dave, at the spot of 306.
Yeah,
So
so
one pick after T.Y. Hilton.
So Armani was sitting there, like, looking at his chops, like, I'm either going to Mack or Hilton, which is great.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got both of them.
Right.
And Diggs too, so, he passed on one, but he still not Hilton.
Yeah. So, and Hilton is his number 2 receiver, too, by the way. Interesting stuff there. All right, so after Hilton goes Derrick Henry to Skorecki and Richard Clement, the FFPC Joes there. They take Derrick Henry, the true rainbow start here, Dave, as they go receiver, tight end, quarterback, running back to begin their draft. Robert Woods then to Rob Wozniak from the Fantasy Footballers as their number 30 receiver. Julian Edelman is Chris Carlson's first wideout taken after he starts off with 3 running backs. Edelman, the Patriots receiver tonight, goes to Chris Carlson at the 406, followed by Brandon Cooks to Bob Harris, and then Mark Ingram, the 3rd straight running back drafted by Cowart and Yarborough here. Ingram is the 3rd running back after they started off with Hopkins in the 1st round. Kenny Galladay off the board. Boy, is it just me, or does it seem like Kenny Galladay has literally gone up to 409 like the last 3 pros versus Joe's draft?
Yeah, that's exactly where you must go.
Yeah, it's
Can't go sooner or later.
yeah, that is his only spot. I apologize if you have the 4th
I think
pick.
Boyd and Ingram are greater than Galladay and Cohen.
Take Kenny Galladay there, and that's where Michael Nazareth takes him tonight.
I didn't know that we are one yet.
That is the rumor. I don't know if we've gotten confirmation from Tupac in the chat room, but
that's close.
Kenny Galladay may or may. Oh, okay, fine, you got it now. O.J. Howard off the board to Chad Schroeder. So this is interesting, Dave. Chad Schroeder starts off with 3 straight running backs, does not go receiver in the 4th, and he goes tight end in the 4th with O.J. Howard as the 5th tight end off the board. And then we get another tight end off the board right after that. Josh Hornsby takes Hunter Henry as his tight end 1, and then D.J. Moore as the number 1 receiver for Dave Sherman. And I got to tell you, we've seen this before. I'm going to make a prediction right now that Dave Sherman somehow lands Cam Newton tonight, and as he gets McCaffrey and DJ Moore, he might get Curtis Samuel, he might get Steve Smith.
Yeah, we know Ingram's going to get touches.
He might get Jake Delhomme for all I know. As he was
Who's that tight end that was good for so long?
Wesley Wall.
Yeah, I think
Might get Wesley Wall. Yeah, no question. Julius Peppers might find his way on his team as well. We don't know. It's entirely possible. But DJ Moore, goes with the final pick of the 4th round, I like the fact that you can go with 3 straight running backs and
Yeah, some big picks coming up.
or, wanting to get a receiver in the 4th and DJ Moore falls to you. I'm a little, I hesitate to use the word concerned because I'm not concerned, but there's a lot of hype in Carolina Panthers camp for Christian McCaffrey. There's a lot of hype for DJ Moore, and the Curtis Samuel hype has been building as well. You know whose hype has not been building in Carolina? It's one Cam Newton. And I just question, why are we talking about McCaffrey, Moore, and Samuel so much? And
People are under the radar about Newton, but go ahead.
Okay, so talk about that a little bit.
There's people who have been saying that on Twitter. They've been saying in general that, you draft all these other guys, and Cam Newton really is a huge beneficiary. And Cam Newton in general he's a top 5, top 6, top 7 fantasy QB when he's healthy. He almost always is when he's healthy.
Right.
What was he when he was, as a rookie? He was like QB 2, 3, or 4.
He was super high.
Yeah,
super
I mean,
high,
if he's healthy and he does his shoulder surgery, everything looks good. And offense, he has more offensive weapons, I think, one could argue than he's ever had. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't believe in the talent of Samuel or DJ Moore, that's different. But McCaffrey's a superstar star running back. Everyone agrees he's top 4, redraft pick.
Right.
And then he had really bad receivers before for so long, and he had bad running back play too, Jonathan Stewart and stuff like that. He couldn't catch it all.
Right.
So I think this is it's made for Cam.
Do you want to take a guess at what number of quarterbacks he's going off the board in FFPC drafts?
13.
11.
Right.
He is the 11th quarterback off the board.
I mean, the other argument would be that because he has more talented players, he doesn't have to rush it as often. He doesn't need to run it, and McCaffrey's actually a pretty good red zone runner.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do all those things that he used to have to do, but he's still going to do them as he's getting pressure. He's in the road sometimes.
Blitz the Mania chiming in the chat room saying that Cam Newton, and he's done a ton of drafts, Cam Newton's been very undervalued all drafting season. I kind of agree with that, no question. So I guess I don't kind of agree with that. I fully agree with it.
The one thing I'm noticing in a lot of these drafts is if you have an early pick, and let's say you have the one benefit of having a top 4 pick is in the tight end position. Sure. Is a lot of times you have 2 options in the 2nd and 4th round. Because you see those pockets, you have Kelsey, Kittle, Ertz, and Kelsey goes in the 1st, but Kittle and Ertz a lot of times will drop to the late 2nd. And so if you want one of those guys, not always, but a lot of those times you can grab them. If you don't get them, or if you choose not to take them, oftentimes you will have your option of, not all of them, but Ingram, O.J. Howard, and Hunter Henry for the next 3. And it's like these great breaks, right? It's Kelsey, and then it's Ertz, Kittle, and then it's Ingram, Howard, Henry, and then it's a drop-off after that.
Yeah, to your point, I'll just let everybody know this. Over the last 3 days, Kelsey 106. Kittle and Ertz have identical 209 ADP, so Kittle has actually caught Ertz.
Right in that wheelhouse.
And then to your point, 407, 408, 409.
Yes.
Howard, Henry, Ingram.
And so generally speaking, if you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 pick, you will, in one of those 5 guys is going to drop.
Should be there.
Should be there. One of them will drop you just by chance. It's going to happen. So it's kind of it is a nice benefit to having one of those top 4 picks. If you're looking at tight ends, really.
Right, exactly. Yeah, how would you?
How many running backs?
Okay, they're all blurring together now. This is the
Yeah,
Have I
And
asked
24
you
wide
how
receivers?
you would attack the tight end? I know I usually ask you this every single year, but how would you attack the tight end position in a tight end premium league? I guess it kind of depends where you're picking from. You kind of already talked about how you would do it if you had an early pick. Well, what if you're picking in the middle of the round? What if you were picking at the end of the board? Would you be investing a first-round pick if you had the 106 and Travis Kelce? Would you be investing in early to mid-second round pick in Ertz or Kittle, or would you be waiting on those guys in the 2nd round?
If I was picking like the 8 through 12 range, I probably would be just waiting for some sort of tight end value to hit me, if possible. And it doesn't always happen, but I probably would not be drafting. If Kelsey be gone, I probably would avoid Ertz and Kittle because there's other opportunities there. Although, if you like Ertz, I mean, the guy has as many receiving yards as some of the other receivers are going that spot. So I don't think, if you take Ertz in the 2nd round, early 2nd round, I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. Kittle, I'm a little bit less of a fan of. And then I just, again, the 3rd, 4th turn, I can't see taking Ingram, Howard, or Henry right there. But there's other tight ends that I like a little bit later, but then you're kind of sort of pumping that position to some extent. But really hit the receivers and running back.
When you say you're a little bit less of a fan of George Kittle, are you talking about a little bit less of a fan of him in comparison to Zach Ertz, or just in general with Kittle this year?
In comparison to Ertz.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I think he's a fine pick. I don't, 2 Packers like him, but whatever.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So I've heard.
Okay.
I've heard a few whoops out there
I'm kidding.
on the Twitter about, He doesn't ever explain it. That's his analysis. It equals WOOF in caps.
Yeah, well,
So thanks. Mike, you can call in, those phone lines are open.
Dave, Twitter is not for analysis. Twitter is for
Yeah, for put downs and
yeah, the zingers.
shove off.
Yeah, shove off.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I do like that.
Shove off.
If you want to get more
What?
shove offs and zingers, remember the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour airs every Friday night at 10/9 Central on demand streaming, always available for listening anytime. HSFFR.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Podbean, Overcast, or James' preferred method of podcast listening. Spreaker, always available there.
What's the video, too?
That's special. But
Okay, right? We'll put them in two dots over.
it is not spelled.
That was a good pick.
SPRECAKER is the root beer. SPREAKER is the podcast.
Now, you are on the clock.
Holy shit, man.
Spreaker.
Really?
Listen, Jared Cook's still there.
Challenge in life.
Yeah, it's a conglomerate.
Podcasting. There's something there. I don't think I'm going to do podcasting and see if I can start something there. But hey, Lucia.
And to be honest with you, don't
It's
forget
like, like in Breaking Bad, Germany conglomerate.
I don't even know if that was a German accent, quite frankly.
It was
like French German.
They all lost.
Start saying players.
All right, moving on. Eric Ebron at the 501. Got it, thank you. There's,
You don't need to block over. There's no politically incorrect.
Drake,
about
Landry,
fundamental values. It's fine.
I don't want anybody triggered. Eric Ebron to Dave Sherman tonight at 501 as he takes him as his first tight end. James White to Josh Hornsby as his second running back at 502. Tyler Lockett is the first receiver drafted by Kevin Schroeder as he goes RB, and then TE, followed by Tyler Lockett as his number
there's
one
still quite a
wide
few
receiver.
left on there.
Is joining Alvin Kamara in the backfield for FF Mastermind Mike Nazareth. Tyler Boyd off the board.
Drake's a good best ball pick.
And then Sony Michel, the Patriots running back. The quote unquote.
No, I like Drake better for best ball.
Running back off the board. White at the 502. Michel is the choice for Bob Harris at the 506 tonight to go to Nick Chubb in the backfield. Cooper Kupp joins Julian Edelman as Chris Carlson started to wide receiver Cup at the 507 tonight. A couple of running backs here. Tariq Cohen to Rob Wozniak from Fantasy Footballers. Chris Carson to Starecki and Richard Clement, the FFPC Joes who are drafting in the 9th spot. And then you have Vance McDonald as the first tight end off the board for Darren Armani. Mike Williams, Chargers receiver to Rizinger and Dida. That is their third receiver drafted here from the 11th spot. And then rounding things out in the 5th round is Lamar Miller and Eric Moody. Dave, you have a comment?
Lamar Miller has seen money. I feel like that's
That's a
actually.
fine play.
Yeah, I think he could have gotten to 7.
On average, he's going at the 708. So,
Shoot. So, all right, so 40% chance he could have gotten to 7 o'clock.
that seems accurate. That seems accurate. Yeah. So now we
You gotta take that risk.
So we talked, and can I get it? Yes, I can't get into this because he just went off the board. We got in the conversation from 4 for 4's Peter Overzet last night. He actually left it up to us. Who should he take here? And he was deciding between Lamar Miller and Darius Price. And I said Lamar Miller, who we ended up going with. You said Darius Price. And you are a known lover ofLamar Miller.
No, you're good. Just stay like we've been doing on those tiers.
So more have I really been have propensity for liking Darius Price, by the way.
That actually excellent point. I didn't think about that.
What was that draft? What was this draft pick?
I'd have to look it up. I don't. He was super late. He was like the 11 pick, 10 or 11. So I look at this choice that is facing fantasy owners.
8th round pick for him last night. I'm serious.
Yeah, I still have it, DJ.
I don't.
Anyway, I'm sorry to run through all this.
Lamar Miller
What's up,
versus
Trippy?
Deontay Foreman. Consider their values tonight, or in general. Would you be looking at either of those guys to acquire on your team, Dave? I know you don't trust Foreman's Achilles. I know you don't trust Lamar Miller's Lamar Millerness. But if push came to shove, are either of those players a player you'd like to be in business in? And before you answer that question, Lamar Miller on average going at the 708, which I just said. Foreman on average is going at the 1008. So you get 3 full rounds of value if you go with Foreman.
Yeah, I'm taking Lamar Miller for sure over Foreman.
Okay.
There's even words talking out there that says, they say, Foreman's in good shape and he's competing for the number 2 job. That's the coach is saying that.
Right.
He's not competing for the number 1 job.
Right.
He's competing for the number 2 job. So I don't,
So it's Lamar Miller locked in.
that is the team is saying.
Right.
It's not me talking.
Right.
Well, now it's me talking. I'm just repeating what the team is saying. Lamar Miller's a starting running back. Foreman's coming back off an Achilles injury. He's had a long time to recover. Hasn't shown anything early.
Yeah.
And he's still getting drafted in the 10th round. That's fine. People can take him all day long now.
But you will not be taking him.
No, we're not taking that.
Yeah, he's a
I don't think Lamar Miller's a bad pick if you're going to.
yeah, he's a good best ball pick.
Right. Yeah. That would make sense at that point. No question.
He's not. The thing is, for $500,000, it's not a lot of fun to be topping Lamar Miller.
Hey.
In the 6 or 7 rounds. It doesn't seem likely if you're only $500,000 with Lamar Miller starting for in week 16.
David,
Technically possible.
it doesn't
You are up
seem
next.
likely.
Right.
But sometimes the unsexy pick, the unfun pick, the boring pick is the pick that ends up grinding it out.
And what was our former name on champ? It was Dante Rosario.
Don Meadow.
Don Meadow had Dante Rosario
Yeah.
starting as a tight end.
And
And who's Dante Rosario?
Now you are on the clock.
It was a Carolina Panthers
So it's
tight end
Jarvis.
back in the day. But yeah, that's something that,
Jarvis.
I'll bring Tim
And
McCullough up
Coleman.
because we haven't brought him up since night 2 of the Pros
That's
versus
a good
Joes.
point. You actually did a nice job.
In this competition, Tim McCullough drafted one tight end in, I can't remember what year it was, 2013, 2014, way back then, from Roto Experts.
Might have been like 15.
Well, whatever.
But it was big.
You know what? It was 15. You could see it was 16 because the Roto Experts guys went back to back.
It was big. Mine was like,
Yeah, and that was the only tight end he drafted. He won not only his league, he won the overall competition. And to that point, John Metter, a longtime FFPC player, a veteran, actually, I believe a guy who's drafted.
Yeah, but look at the wide
competition
receiver
before.
tier.
I've had him on the HSFFR.
It really comes down to what we think Landry is.
And he said,
But I think it's
there's
too.
been a few episodes. And so John Metter kind of just poo-pooed the tight end, and he proved it when he won. And I believe his normal starting lineup was 4 running backs when he won the whatever it was, $150,000 or $200,000 grand prize, or 100, whatever it was. It was 6 figures, I know that. With his normal starting lineup,
15 seconds left.
2-week sprint was 4 running backs, and Dante Rosario was the tight end, and he won the whole GD thing.
That's just, it was only 2,400 teams, but it was so impressive.
Yeah, highly impressive. You think anybody could ever pull something like that off again?
Nope.
Do you think anybody could win Pros Joes again with one tight end?
Yeah, could they?
Yeah, I was trying to go down the wide receivers. I think that makes.
That makes it 7-15.
Yeah, that makes the most sense for our team. Fuck their teams. I don't care who they have.
Or what if you take Kelsey in the first round? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, McCullough's already walked on him. Everybody else is still all of them now.
Yeah, of course.
In 6 leagues, everyone was drafting Kelsey, Kittle, and Ertz opted when they draft that.
Yeah, I believe in the guys we
I
have
think there's
running
a
back for
reasonable
sure.
chance that one of them would have a shot to win because of that.
Right.
Those teams all have to be elite players.
Yeah. Getting back to our Kittle conversation
Yep.
from earlier, Two-Packer in the chat room says, check out his injury report. The operation team wanted to have a George Kittle version, but there wasn't enough room for all the body parts. So he is not a believer in George Kittle.
I don't even know what
In other words,
that's all the injury?
yes, in other words, he's always hurt and
Alright,
hurts
let's
everywhere.
load up here.
That's the point that Two-Packer is making here. So that's why he doesn't. You do that, and I'm going to take everybody through the 6th round here, which just completed. The number 2 quarterback off the board. Quarterbacks are falling a little bit tonight. Deshaun Watson to Eric Moody at the 6-1. A.J. Green, who we found out today from head coach Zach Taylor in Cincinnati that it's going to be a multiple regular season game absence for A.J. Green. But Rissinger and Dina are getting him their number 4 receiver. That could be nice value. We'll see what happens. Go ahead.
Kittle's the number 6 ranked tight end as far as most likely to get hit behind Eifert, Green, Delaney Walker, and then Kittle. 59.7% chance. Projected use miss 2.5. So Myers actually kind of
Okay, wait a minute.
kind of correct.
Who's number 1 on that list?
Eifert,
And where is Jordan Reed?
he's second.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Eifert, Reed, Walker, Kittle.
It's interesting that Greg Olson's not in there.
Yeah, Olsen didn't really have a big injury history.
Right, he's had a couple of nasty foot injuries.
He's in there. He's at 49.5%. Guess who's the least likely? This person, the tight end is least likely to get hurt, is like off the charts least likely to get hurt.
Okay.
He's 12.1%. The next lowest is 30%.
All right. So is this a guy that's being drafted in the top 15? And I'm asking.
Top 15 tight end?
Yeah. He's so he's below that.
No, he's below that. He's a starting tight end in the NFL.
He's a starting tight end. He's not drafted in the top 15.
He's had an excellent career.
That,
Those are good there.
Bam.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
That is terrible announcer.
Funny as hell.
He never got hurt in announcing either.
Yeah, well, only a pride. Calvin Ridley is the third pick here in the 6th round. He goes to Darren Armani. Alshon Jeffrey is the second wide receiver, drafted by Skorecki and Clement here at the 604. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But he keeps saying Jeffrey too. It's been in line for a few years.
Alshon Jeffries goes to to Skorecki here. And to pair with Devontae Adams. It is David Montgomery right after that. So we have the Bears running back stack for Rob Wozniak from the Fantasy Footballers as he gets Cohen in the 5th and now David Montgomery in the 6th. Interesting. Dante Pettis, the first non-white receiver drafted by Chris Carlson. Putting that out there as he gets Edelman, Cup, and now Dante Pettis in the 6th round. I'm just kidding. I'm actually not kidding. That's what happened, but it's a fun little observation. Darius Geis, right after that, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Darius Geis to Bob Harris as his number 3 running back tonight. Football diehards, Hall of Famer takes Geis as his 3rd running back. Kenyon Drake is the 4th running back off the board to Cowart and Yarborough here in the 6th round. And then Austin Hooper, the first team to double up on tight ends tonight is indeed Michael Nazareth, the founder of FFMastermind.com. Austin Hooper backing up George Kittle there for Nazareth squad. Allen Robinson, the 2nd receiver drafted by Chad Schroeder at the 6'10". And wrapping things up in the 6th round here is Miles Sanders, to Josh Hornsby, and then Christian Kirk, the number 2 receiver for Dave Sherman tonight to go with his DJ Moore. Wow, that's a nice little breakout pair there with Moore and Kirk as his 2 receivers. And we look back on the 6th round here. Dave, what do you make of, this is probably not a strategy you would employ, but when you're Nazareth and you already have Kittle on your squad, and Nazareth, by the way, who is, I don't believe he's ever been the overall winner in pros versus Joes. I know he's won his league. I believe he's won his league multiple times. He is a veteran of this competition.
Yeah, he's had some good performances.
He's had some very good performances. And I think there's been times where he hasn't won his league, but he's still finished in the top 5 overall.
It's good enough to tell us a story about it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, it sticks in my mind.
Yeah, he's like, let me tell you about this. It's like, no one cares about your team, Mike. But
I care about his team.
I'm kidding. Mike's great. We love Mike.
All right, fair enough. So you have Austin Hooper going to him after he already has Kittle. Is this something that you would ever do, Dave, is take 2 quasi-elite tight ends? I guess Hooper's not elite, but Hooper's solid. Would you take an elite and a solid tight end here with 2 of your top 6 picks?
I would, but probably not if it was, Hooper does have some upside, but I think I don't feel like it's a lot. I feel like we kind of know where he's at or what he's capable of. He's supposed to deal with Keller, he has to deal with Julio Jones. Ahead of him as target monsters. And Freeman's back, Freeman's getting a lot of
Rodgers
more
in the 8th.
targeted. So I think I would not have drafted Hooper myself once I owned Kittle. I would probably go with the receiver there if I was him.
How about the job that...
Well, maybe even running it. Anyway.
Okay. How about the job that Chad Schroeder's done here after he starts off with nary a receiver to be found in the first 4 rounds, and he gets Lockett in the 5th and Allen Robinson in the 6th? You like that when you get that non-receiver start and then get Lockett and Robinson?
Okay, so first of all, there's a couple things.
Okay.
Chad is in the chat room. And secondly, Chad is the most winningest fantasy player in the world of all time. And Chad spends a lot of money with us.
Right.
So I love his team.
Right.
It's the best team I've ever seen in my life.
Duly noted.
It's outstanding.
I understand. I see what's going on here. I see what's going on.
You know what? I really actually, okay.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I'm going to recuse the whole team. No, just the receivers they got, and I'm going to recuse myself from this conversation because Lockett Robinson have been the foundation of my dynasty championship team for like the last 3 years. So I really can't honestly provide much of this.
Yeah, I've liked Allen Robinson for a number of years. He's kind of struggled the past couple, but I can see the upside. Lockett's never been a big fan. I've never been a huge fan of his necessarily, but I get it. I mean, he's the number 1 receiver. He has an elite quarterback with Wilson. I like the O.J. Howard pick. What he did with there in the 4th round. He kind of forced the issue, and he knew that teams 1 and 2 do not have tight ends. And the Henry pick was kind of an obvious one, but I think having Ebron going to Sherman, that gets a little bit forced. I don't know that Sherman necessarily want to do that. Not that it's a panic, but it's something that's fine. So I thought that was a good strategy, and I think Chad's doing fine. He knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
Connors are super valuable in the second round. We'll talk about his team later.
We will get into that, no question, for sure, as we get into team analysis roughly in about 40 minutes here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. You are listening to the live coverage of the 2019 FFPC Pros vs. Joe's Swan Song, as it were. Actually, I think Swan Song means second to last. I'd have to look that up. I could be wrong. But this is indeed the last Pros vs. Joe's draft of the season. Is it the last live draft we're going to cover? More to come on that. But this is
More right
Joe
next.
McCall, league number 6 tonight. We
Curtis
take
Samuel.
the seventh
That's a
round
good
here,
pick.
kicking things off is Dave Sherman, who goes
Now,
across
you are on the clock.
full running back Robin Anderson to Josh Hornsby here as his
No,
third
he
receiver.
just-
Jared Cook to Chad Schroeder as he gets his second tight end here in the 7th round, followed by one Andrew Luck to Michael Nazarek as his number 1 quarterback. Would you like to say something? Because I would.
Yeah, there's a distinct sound to it. We have a little bit more of a vertical slim can.
Did everybody hear me?
People can tell the camera. There's a
Jordan
certain
Howard,
distinct sound to it.
Jordan
White
Howard,
Claw.
Ballage,
They all do
Foreman
it.
Yeah.
are there.
Balky's like
At wide receiver.
I'm in the line, yeah. Ain't no flaws, big flaws. No question.
At wide receiver, Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but shout out to whoever did that 2 minute and 20-second YouTube video of White Claw Summer 2019. You look it up on YouTube, of course, after the show. I want to talk about Andrew Luck here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go wide receiver here.
After he missed
Um,
mini camp, and
Sterling
now he's in training
Shepard,
camp here
I
with
think
a
so,
calf
too.
issue. Now you were the champion of
Don't draft
him because of his shoulder.
Right.
And you didn't draft him anyway.
But you know what?
So you got, listen, the other thing with quarterbacks too, and I guess this gets into a draft philosophy argument, and not that I'm trying to defend you here, because God knows I never want to do that on the show. But,
Yeah, I don't like any of these tight ends right here.
and so I think the philosophy, Connie, is yeah, there was some upside with Andrew Luck last year, but there was a lot of downside too, and I don't technically know if it's necessarily worth the risk, especially where Luck was going, when you consider all the other quarterbacks that you could have gotten at that point or later. So while you may have been wrong not to draft Andrew Luck, I don't think you necessarily got the quarterback position as a whole.
No, okay, let's look at this. Who was the quarterback last year that if I had told you don't draft this person no matter what, would have really hurt you a lot? That would be Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
He's the player that took people from wherever they could have.
Not that you said this, but you're saying hypothetically.
Yeah, I didn't say that. Right. If I said don't draft Mahomes, he's awful, he's overrated, whatever, and he was going to lay it up. But he's the player that actually won people's championships, won people.
I'll tell you what, too, man. I think
Andrew Luck did fine.
I think Marvin Jones is an
total
excellent.
Ohio State game changer.
Right.
I'm not saying we have to take him here, but I think he's a great
Still doing.
best ball pick.
All right, now whatever. It's okay. So getting back to 2019, are you concerned with this cap thing with him? Because I don't know if that affected T.Y. Hilton's fall tonight. I think it certainly could have. I don't know if it affected
I don't see much-
Marlon Mack, but I'm
I don't
not sure.
see much
I don't know what to think
difference.
tonight.
Oh,
It didn't
fuck,
affect
never
Eric
mind, he
Ebron, I guess. But
Shit.
Andrew Luck and his calf, at what point did he start
I
becoming
was just gonna
concerned
say I
with
don't
this and
see
not
much
practicing?
difference between Goff and
I'm
Wentz.
not that overly
But Wentz
concerned
just
about
went
not really
anyway.
drafting Andrew Luck.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go quarterback here because they're starting to go.
And we had this discussion about whether to take Watson or Luck, and I would take Watson.
Right.
But I don't think Luck's a bad pick necessarily.
The T-Rex himself.
No, we're good.
T-Rex
I'm just-
Texan, Deshaun Watson.
I would've loved to
Take
have-
over
loved
Andrew
to have
Luck.
gotten
And
another
that's what
receiver
happened
here, but
tonight.
that's
He
okay.
went, my goodness, almost a round and a half before Andrew Luck. Jarvis Landry, right after Luck goes to Nazareth, Jarvis Landry goes to Color and Yarborough here as the 705 pick. A couple of running backs off the board is Kevin
I
Coleman.
think
as
Sterling
number 4,
Shepard's
Bob
the-
Harris, and then it's
beyond
Scott
Barkley's the
Penny
best
as number
offensive
4,
weapon on
and
that
Chris
team.
Carlson, TTQT, is going to Rob Wozniak from the Fantasy Footballers at the 708 tonight. That's his 4th receiver. Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
Going to Sorecki and Clement here at the 709, followed by Daryl.
All right, well, there goes
Darren
Goff.
Armani, and two
So
other two
now-
running backs, David Njoku.
I might
as
go
the
wide
starting
receiver.
tight end to Rich Rizinger and Lou Ditta at the 711, and then Will Fuller, the final pick of the 7th round.
The only-
Eric Moody from FantasyData.com. I want to give a
The
shout
only-
out.
The only QB I want on this whole list is Matt Ryan.
I'll feel bad if he did not say this, but
I don't.
he was mentioning how the coach, and I didn't see this quote exactly, but Freddie Kitchens was saying
You're
that
on
he needs
next.
to improve his blocking.
Well, there goes Matt
Or
Ryan.
something to that effect. And for a guy that we expect to be a matchup problem for defenses and should be putting up a lot
That's
of
what I
fantasy
just
points,
said.
improving blocking is not really what you want to hear out of Cleveland in order for Joker to get more, not only targets, but snaps on the
Fuck
field.
these quarterbacks.
You know,
We're gonna draft Nick Foles. He'll take us to the
I'm actually glad
champ.
to call him out on that because maybe he just
Damn it,
felt like when he
Foles.
came to the league at age 20, so super young. And maybe he
Man,
just
they went on a
felt like
huge
he stayed
quarterback
by for
run
so
there.
long.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And not really. It's good that they bring that up.
5 quarterbacks straight.
He's a big, I mean, you look at his arms, I mean, he's got,
He's in the
he's
dominant.
got muscles upon muscles, I mean, it's
Yeah.
incredible. He should be, he should be topping, like, he should be knocking people all over the place. This is a side story, but, Jalen Hurd got into 2 fights with San Francisco, and they said it's because he was blocking too hard.
That's awesome.
If I was the coach, I'd be like, absolutely, baby, let's
Yeah.
keep it going, fight again, fight more. Let's tell the
Okay.
family.
All right, Hurd, take a lap and keep it up.
That's exactly it, exactly.
All right, so this is going to be a total hashtag hot take, and I'm like 95% I'm reading too much into this. Do you remember last year with
If
Hard
Bree-
Knocks, which I think debuts
let
next
me see.
week on HBO, with the Raiders?
This guy-
Now you are on the clock.
When they did that piece on
Oh
David
my
Njoku,
god. 7 running backs straight. I mean,
really
quarterbacks.
getting into
Wow.
meditation and self-awareness and just having this calmness about him. Is there any, can you read anything into that? In other words, that this is a guy that doesn't have that aggressive, punch you in the mouth mentality that he's zoned in much in the way that, Arian Foster or Ricky Williams was, where
2,
there's,
3, 4.
and again, I'm probably reading too much into this, but I don't know if there's a correlation there at all, where it's just like, look, he's going to be a pass catcher. He'll be a matchup problem for defenses on the team, but don't expect anything more than that.
It's a possibility, he could be a soft segment.
And I don't want to use that word because this guy can flatten me with his pinky.
Well, I mean, it's possible. I mean, just because he can beat you up doesn't mean it's not necessarily soft in the NFL.
Well, I mean, 99% of the people walking this planet could beat me up when it probably wouldn't take much.
Oh shit, we're on the clock. I didn't even realize that.
NFL
Oops.
players could beat you up.
No, it's 150% of NFL players.
Oops. I'm sitting there looking through players.
What's the mania saying to the hippies in the chat room? So I don't know. Maybe
No, I'm still like looking for some key players.
Allegedly. Should we tell that story on the air?
Yeah,
Damn.
go ahead.
So this was in.
Jeremy Welch, who's in our chat room right now.
Yeah, drafted in the pros and shows already. This was at
Right.
Palace. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
That was
Where you at, man?
So
Where you at?
this happened where he was actually in the restroom at Caesar's Palace, right outside the sports
Let's
book,
see.
and along with Floyd Money Mayweather was in there as well.
And so this is what,
He was on the same. He was on.
Sunday.
Yeah, he was on.
Let me just,
Okay,
okay,
go ahead.
Sunday during the NFL game, where we were all hanging out, we were watching a bunch, we had some seats reserved.
I was not there.
Okay, so we did not
Yeah.
see, so the rest of us were there.
Right.
Okay, so go.
And he was on the same urination schedule as Money Mayweather. And
We're not promoting, like, if he's gonna have a fight.
yeah, and probably gambling a lot on NFL Week 1, whatever. And his whole team, his entourage was in the can as well. And now this is the part I won't get right, so I want to have you say the exact quote. But Jeremy Roach had something to say to Floyd Mayweather as he was leaving the restroom.
He said something like, Pacquiao would have kicked your ass in his prime.
Right, yeah. And Mayweather heard that.
Jeremy's had a number of white claws.
Right, he did, yeah. Well, whatever. But he yelled this out, and it didn't take too much longer, the way I understand the story, for Mayweather's team to
Yeah, that's a lot of quarterbacks in a
impolitely
row.
escort Roach out of the bathroom. And Blitzmania had a story to tell.
I don't think I've ever seen it
But I
either.
don't know if he washed his hands.
Oh,
I
That's
don't
a
know
hell
if
of a
he got the
QB run.
opportunity to.
it was so hilarious. We were all saying that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is that's our road story that we will tell tonight as we wrap up the 7th round of action. And on that note, let's go back to the phone lines here. You're on the air, and with the David Balke on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. The 214 is joining us. Who is this?
This is Josh ADHD. How you boys doing?
Long time no talk. Josh Hornsby at Fantasy ADHD on Twitter. Check out all his work at Roto Grinders. I want to kind of pick your brain, knowing that you had the second pick pick in this draft tonight. We're through 9 rounds for you. How has the draft gone? Have you been executing your strategy, your game plan? How's it been going?
Yeah, I think things have gone pretty well so far. I mean, when you get in a room with guys like this, you're going to get sniped left and right, so you have to be able to flow like water, as Bruce Lee said. So that's been my draft strategy for the last 3 seasons, is to flow like water. So when somebody gets ahead of you and snipes your player, you have a backup plan.
It's crazy.
You're ready to flex in a heartbeat. And that's what tonight's been all about.
Yeah, and you're now a veteran of this competition, so you know what to expect. And I want to ask you about your second overall pick, because we saw Todd Burrow's take.
By the way, he's only tweeted 3 times during the draft. So what the hell is going on?
It's a tough draft. It's a tough draft. It's just focusing on the draft here tonight, Dave. We saw Todd Burrow take David Johnson at the 101 last night. You take him at the 102 tonight, which if Burrows wouldn't have taken him at the 101 last night, this would have been the highest we've seen David Johnson go. Tell us what you like about David Johnson in 2019, Josh.
Well, to be honest, I like the offense that he's going to be in. The offensive line itself is going to be probably only marginally better than it was in 2018, but the fact that he gets to play in a 4-wide scheme with a creative play caller, with a quarterback that can actually get away from pressure and have targets to scheme toward David Johnson, it's just, to me, it's a match made in heaven for his ability to get outside of the big hog mollies up front and work in space. I mean, to me, it's a match made in heaven, and I like him over Barkley, over Kamara, over Elliott for that reason this season.
Josh, you had the opportunity to draft whatever Patriots running back you wanted. You went with James White at the 502 over Sony Michel as the number 1 Patriots running back off the board.
I love that.
Was it the fact that he's healthy? Well, I mean, I guess Michel is healthy-ish. Was that the fact that why you took White first? Was it the fact that he was going to catch more passes than Michel this year? Tell us a little bit about what went into the thought process with the White pick for you at 502.
Yeah, the other player I was looking at 502 was Chris Carson, but I decided I wanted to see if he would by chance fly to me in the 6th round. I didn't think it was very likely, but I wanted to take that risk. And on the flip side of that, James White, I like his receiving floor. I think he's the most dependable back in New England. Now, does that mean he's going to score 15 points every week on 7 or 8 receptions? No, it doesn't. But I think he's the type of running back at RB2 that provides that really solid floor that you need, so you can take swings on, these long shot running backs later in the draft.
So let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Great question, yeah.
And it's interesting, just in the past few days, you've heard some of the beat writers from Philly saying that Miles Sanders is moving at a different speed than players like Jordan Howard and so forth. You took Miles Sanders in the 6th round. I've kind of been negative on Miles Sanders. I'm kind of coming around lately because I've always hated Jordan Howard. I always thought he sucked. My concern was that they would just keep spreading the ball around. But they did draft him pretty early. And part of the reason I didn't like Sanders is that he had these injury issues kind of early on, and it sounds like he's over those. Convince me on Miles Sanders because I actually want to like him. So, yeah, give us your sales pitch on him if you don't mind.
Okay, so the Miles Sanders spiel is that, you do mention the draft pedigree. That they spent a lot of draft capital to acquire him. That's something they haven't done under the Howie Roseman regime. So, to me, that speaks volumes about how they value Miles Sanders as a prospect. On top of that, I think they've been looking for a bell cow running back for this offense for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Since Doug Peterson has arrived, and they've traded a pick to try to get J.H. Ivey to fill that role. That didn't work out so well. They tried to get Josh Adams to fill that role a bit last year. That didn't work out so well. And now they've spent this draft capital on Miles Sanders. And the other guys in Philadelphia, they are fit pieces, right? They can fill a role, which is good. That's kind of a Patriot way you fill a role. But Sanders has a total package. So if Sanders is on the field, Philadelphia can be as multiple as they want to be. That's what they want to do. So to me, if they can get Sanders up to speed in the offense, his health is good. I think he's a 3-down back in this offense. And this offense is going to be dynamite. We know that.
Josh Warren will be joining us here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Follow him on Twitter at Josh_ADHD. The last question I want to ask you before we let you get back to the drafting action. What happened at that 4-5 turn here? Because we actually talked about this earlier. Now, Chad Schroeder,
I'm loading people up in the queue.
You end up going with Hunter Henry. I'm curious as
That's
to
what
what
Junior
you
Urass
have
needs to be
done Did the Howard pick affect at all what you were going to do at the 4-11, or were you locked into Henry? Would you have taken Howard if he was still available? Were you looking at a tight end there anyway? Can you kind of take us what you got?
Like 6 questions?
Well, I just want to get through the thought process here.
Answer all of them.
Every one of them.
Yeah, that's a great question. No, Howard was my 1A there, and Henry was my 1B. And what I was hoping was that DJ Moore
Yeah,
would fly
I like
to the
the
502.
wide receiver
Obviously,
play.
they took him at 412 and kind of crushed that, so I fell back on James White. But, I wanted what I thought was an elite tight end at a value. And Howard and Henry are that tight end to me this season. Now, would I taken both of these guys at the 4 or 5 turn if they'd been available? I would have thought long and hard about it. I would have thought long and hard about taking Hunter Henry over DJ Moore if I could have gotten and stacked those tight ends at 4 or 5. But, to me, they're kind of like tomato, tomato. I'm happy with either one, so that's why I went ahead and
I want to see the whole
Jack,
4 more picks. Let me see what
We should
happens.
mention this too. FantasyADHD.com has been relaunched, as we found out from your Twitter feed. Can you tell the listeners what they can expect to find out there, and why they should check that out?
It is an amazing tool.
Yeah, so the time to relaunch that site was it's something that's needed to be done for probably the past 2 years. It was just a very rudimentary, ugly site, and I relied on people going to the specific app sites as I built them. The problem is you have to remember slashes and words after the website, and that's not very helpful. So I relaunched the site with the idea of it being as a landing page for all of the different apps I do, whether it be for rotor grinders or a different website or on my own personal site, and use that as a launching pad for everything that I've done. So the plan is to go and redevelop some of the apps, make them a bit faster, make them all kind of live right there in my little fantasy ADHD ecosystem and serve different purposes. So, there's an Air Yards app. I've got a game script app that I'm redeveloping right now, in addition to the best ball apps that I've had online for the last 3 seasons. So if you want to, definitely go visit the site since I've relaunched it now, FantasyADHD.com. I appreciate the plug, fellas. And if something's broken, please let me know because I am not a web developer. I'm a hack.
But dude, I mean, if you're not a web developer, I mean, people that call themselves web developers, they suck.
They're not either.
It's really
Yeah,
By the
exactly.
way, I just went to the site, I looked at your logo, I actually love your logo. Have you seen this, Fluffy?
You are up next.
Hold on, check this out.
Yeah, so check it out. That's great,
Now,
man.
you are on the clock.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, no, that's great. That is fantastic. That is really, really good. Yes, excellent branding, an excellent draft.
I like Jamal Williams or Marvin Jones.
Donate some money, give him some cash, he's still not free.
Exactly, they're not free, and
Yeah.
they definitely should be.
CBS is charging.
Yeah, they are indeed. FantasyADHD.com is where to get all of Josh Ornsby's work. You can follow him on Twitter at Josh_ADHD. Josh, good luck the rest of the way. Good luck in all your drafts this year. We always appreciate hearing from you. Thanks so much for competing again this year. Best of luck to you this summer, and enjoy all your drafts, dude.
Well, fellas, thanks for the time. Thanks for letting me call in. And the show's been great so far, so keep it up. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Josh. We'll do our best to keep up the show being great. No promises there, as I feel like we've been skating on thin ice
Yeah, we're gonna have
thus
to
far, Dave. I ended
finish
with
shaping the team.
7th round action. We were going to get into the 8th round here, and what's interesting about the 8th round is we have, and I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this, we have the longest quarterback run for sure of 2019 Pros versus Joe's. Maybe, Dave, of all time. The longest
quarterback run of all time.
in Pros versus Joe's history.
That might be true.
Yeah, I believe it. Shit, I ain't never seen it before.
I'm surprised that people are so British. You just have to,
With the laissez-faire.
it's like a ruthless kid.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, no
crazy.
question. It's cutthroat.
And it got served like Chad, cocktails, and drinks.
Did that have something to do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have an FFPC main event overall champion. He starts to run, and everybody starts listening. Okay, so let's get into it. The 8th round was led off by Royce Freeman, going to Eric Moody from FantasyData.com. Aaron Rodgers off the board in the 8th round. My God, it will never be real to me. Aaron Rodgers at the 8:02 tonight. Baker.
It's going to get worse for him every year.
Listen, Father Time, that's how it works. But Baker Mayfield at the 8:03, Latavius Murray off the board as the 3rd running back drafted by Skorecki and Clement here. Kyler Murray to Rob Wozniak as his starting quarterback. Curtis Samuel off the board to Chris Carlson as his number 4 receiver. Corey Davis to Bob Harris as his third receiver that he has selected tonight. Sterling Shepard goes to Howard and Yarbrough tonight. That selection is the 808. Jordan Howard as the number 3 running back to Nazareth. And now here come the quarterbacks. Dave, I'm not going to stop at the 8th round. At the end of the 8th round, I'm going to go right through to get everybody the full effect of this quarterback.
Very exciting.
Chad Schroeder, Carson Wentz. Josh Hornsby, Cam Newton. Dave Sherman, Russell Wilson, and Jared Goff. Josh Hornsby, Jameis Winston. Chad Schroeder, Matt Ryan. Michael Nazareth, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Ray Coward, Tyson Yarbrough, Mitchell Trubisky. Bob Harris, Lamar Jackson, and rounding things off is Chris Carlson with 1 Dak Prescott. All right, Dave. That is 10 quarterbacks off the board here.
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite? Out of all 10 of those, Dave, you can have any one of them. From Wentz to Prescott, dollars to donuts,
Come on.
nose to the grindstone. Who are you picking?
Probably Matt Ryan, actually.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Russell Wilson.
Well, I think I would take Matt Ryan.
Really? Okay.
Who was the 6th one of the mistakes?
Yeah, he was a 6-1. Well, that's because Chad Schroeder knew he could take Carson Wentz and still get Matt Ryan.
What, he must have the Jedi mind trick going.
Yeah,
Ryan was
fun.
number 2 quarterback last year, right?
That sounds right.
He throws Mohamed Sanu, and he is really getting better.
Yeah.
Julio,
My boy Austin Hooper.
your boy Austin Hooper, and Julio's taken off all 3 seasons. So that is perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
That was exactly.
You eating up some brownie
Dave,
bites?
I do an afternoon show here in Northeast Wisconsin. It's called The Show with Leo and Balky. You can find it at 95.3 FM
That's right.
in Appleton, 99.1 in
It's all about
Oshkosh,
the
AM
Bengals.
1570. You can also go to thescorewi.com and listen live anywhere around the world. We're on from 2 to 3 Monday afternoons, or excuse me, Monday through Friday, weekday afternoons. You can check that out. And one of the things I bring up on the show, we have a segment called 1265 today, and it is a Packers segment that we do.
You are up next.
1265 today. It's a segment of 1265.
What is 1265?
That's the street address for the Packers. 1265.
Yeah, me neither.
Yes.
What street?
Holmgren, or I don't know what it is. Lombardi, I have no idea.
You know, what if Holmgren gets accused of touching a little boy's something or other?
He's
He's
listen,
street name.
listen, hold on. I am not going to comment on that. But I will say this, that regardless of if that happens,
Welcome to Mike Tyson Boulevard.
welcome to real life, because people
At
will,
this point, pretty much any
one of
fucking
the
body
Super
looks
Bowl,
like
and that's the mentality, and I'll leave it at that.
fucking
Now,
Taysom Hill.
one of the things I always
Fucking
bring up, and I
Taysom
brought
Hill and
this
Teddy
up last
Bridgewater are
week,
looking pretty good at this
I don't
point.
want any vested veterans playing in the preseason. I don't want them practicing. I don't want them doing anything. I understand the Packers have a lot of new pieces working on defense. I understand they're establishing a new offense. I don't want these guys establishing
We
it
got
for
Ryan
themselves.
Tannehill in our back
Figure it
pocket,
out
so
for the
that's
regular
good.
season. Put them in bubble wrap. And so the fact that I know that Julio Jones is not going to miss a Super Bowl,
Hell yeah.
the fact that I know that Julio Jones is going to be missing
Now,
the season,
you are on the
missing
clock.
practices,
Damn,
I
Peyton
love it.
Barber's still there too.
He practices like he plays. Why does he need to play if opponents don't want to hurt? Makes no sense.
Well, no, you
So
want
for
to play
me,
against
it's
opponents
Jay
that want to
Will,
play you in the regular
Ballage,
season, but
Foreman, or Barber.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, not in the preseason.
Whatever. I just know exactly what you do.
Okay, not quite, but all right, I'll give that to you. All right, moving on. In the
I'd
next
rather-
round,
honestly,
Derek
I'd rather
Kincaid
go-
and
I'd rather
Dak
go with
Prescott.
Jay
The
Will.
beginning was the Rob Wozniak, and then Kyle Rudolph to the.
I'd rather go
SEC
Foreman and take a shot on
Timothy
one of these
Sareki
guys coming
and,
back like
Richard
Jay
Clement
Will
there.
or Ballard.
Kyle Rudolph is their second tight end they drafted. A guy that is going to be catching passes from
Yeah,
Aaron
hopefully
Rodgers.
it works
Here's
out that
Marquez
way.
Valdes-Scantling as the fourth wide receiver for Darren Armani. Ronald Jones as the first Buccaneers running back drafted tonight. He goes to Rich Rissinger.
Ronald
and Lou
Jones,
And then rounding things off is the starting tight end for Arizona. It is Trey Burton going to him with the final pick of the 9th round tonight. Quarterbacks aside, I looked at this round game.
What?
Has your opinion changed on Ronald Jones? Has your opinion changed on the Tampa? I don't think we talked about Ronald Jones. Have we talked about Ronald Jones at all in the PBJ? I don't think we have.
I was eating some
I don't think we have.
Wagyu
So,
hamburgers
you
earlier.
know, this is a guy that I know you were high on. You and I both, quite frankly, were high on in dynasty drafts last year.
Yeah.
He did not do much.
Eat some of that
He did not get
goo.
back
Some of
to
that goo
the ball.
goo.
Averaged less than 2 yards a carry. But
some of that
in the
good
offseason this year, he's been getting a lot of praise from the coaching staff.
Oh, I already
He
know.
looks really, really good. And
Yeah,
could
I
have a
don't give a
bounce back
flying
year.
fuck.
You look at the Buccaneers ground game right now, he doesn't have a high bar to jump over. I mean, it's Peyton Barber. Ronald Jones, how successful could he be in a high-powered Bruce Arians offense this year when you look at drafting him at the end of the 9th round?
Well, if you die when you come to Austin, I'm gonna feed give the possum.
That's okay.
So
Rojo, not a pass catching back. He's a
it is crazy what people really do with those
He's gained
fuckers.
some weight, which sometimes is not
To
not
make
good.
that this stuff called
Muscle.
Brunswick stew.
The coaching staff is talking up.
It's got that in it, like a bunch of like rabbit and squirrel. It's like real
recently.
crazy shit.
There's you can
It's got a bite to it, I'll tell you that much.
They're talking about because they have another choice. But the talk about
Yeah, it's called
with
Brunswick
the
stew.
fire people that were
It's
there
got like
did when they
possum,
drafted this guy in the second round,
rabbit,
and they
squirrel meat, and it's got like a lot of vegetables.
But
And
they may think Peyton
people
Barber
love
is
it
really,
like
really
in the
bad.
South.
They're trying to
Like,
get
they
him
make
to
like
happen.
the cornbread.
You know, I actually
And you
like
put the
that.
cornbread
I
in the
don't
soup.
really
It's
mind
real-
going back-
they love
back
that
to the
shit.
wall a little bit. Like, he didn't hurt me that much last year. I mean, he was
Yep.
pretty cheap, really.
Yeah.
I didn't draft much in redraft. I just took a few back to you. So I'm on board with Rojo in that kind of range.
Ronald Jones going at the 10.02 on average at FFPC best ball over the last 3 days.
One other thing I would just say about Ronald Jones, he's like the top part of the break
Hold on
below,
one second.
like the Latavius Murray type break, right? Murray, Freeman, and then I feel it drops, and then you have Rojo, the Jalen Samuels, Foreman, McCoy, and Harris types. I think there's a big difference.
Two-Packer confirms 1265 Lombardi Avenue, Jesus Balky. How can you not know that? I kind of like Jesus Balky as a Kentucky team name this year.
You already have too many teammates.
Well, I still like it.
Fair enough.
Let-
Lombardi Avenue, that's
Okay, there you go. Let's go to the 402 and check in here with this caller. Who are we talking to on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour?
Hey, Balky, this is Chad. How you doing? How you guys doing?
We are doing excellent, Chad. Always good to hear from you. Of course, 2008 FFPC main event champion Chad Schroeder checking in with us tonight. How are you liking your team as we are through 11 rounds here for you at the 3 spot?
I like the construction of it more than I like the players that are on it.
You had to love James Conner falling to you at the 210, though. That you had to be loving life.
Not really. I didn't really want to take it
Chad's like, fuck James Conner.
James
I know it sounds like you put a cup down, right?
I don't have a lot of players on my team that I don't care for, but I think the construction of it all works.
Okay, all right. So let's put you to the test here. You have 11 choices here. Which one is your favorite pick as we go through your draft tonight? Barkley, Connor, Damian Williams, O.J. Howard, Lockett, Allen Robinson, Jared Cook, Wentz, Matt Ryan, Cortland Sutton, D.D. Westbrook. Which one is your favorite pick? A player that you did enjoy drafting tonight.
I think my favorite pick is Westbrook at this point, in the 11th round. That goes in the think of my team.
Shit.
I know you're crapping on your own team, but the thing is, granted, you could not have talked about me, you could have, but you probably weren't aware or thinking that you taking Wentz, then, if you take Wentz,
Starting the quarterback.
four more quarterbacks going on top of you is great, and then Ryan Phillips, you take Ryan. And then a whole,
I saw, he's got like a joint in his mouth and some cognac in his fucking hand and a little glass cup.
Quarterbacks or whatever it was. You got Cortland Sutton in 10, and you get D. Westbrook in the 11.
Chad's like, I just want to go to bed.
It did work out.
Yeah, I think so.
It did work out beautifully. My strategic game is far ahead of my player evaluation game at this point in the conversation.
So Campbell, you don't normally. I think I saw somewhere that you say you don't normally.
Why don't you call in?
You're still in, whatever other.
Call the show.
I don't know what you do other than football. So,
Yeah.
Whatever other lifestyle things or gambling, or, whatever you're doing, you're not doing fantasy much yet. Is that right?
Yeah,
I started shutting down that daily fantasy baseball. That's what I've been doing
Yeah.
most of the summer. I don't play full season anymore. And it's going well, but it's stressful and it's a grind and it's not a lot of fun. So I've been sort of giving my brain about a month of hibernation, if you will, and getting ready to get back going. I'm doing a couple of appearances in Omaha for a bar owner, big sports book in town. So this is invaluable information. You guys have done a great job covering these. So I won't sound like a complete noob here coming up with those things, but
Do what?
But August, I'm hosting a Bar Olympics at my house August 10th, and then
Because I wanted you to.
August 11th. So
It's a quick turnaround.
Look, man, I'll stream live 5
Yeah.
nights a week in front of millions of fans. In front of millions of fans worldwide, okay?
Let me ask you this, Chad. So let's say you started August 11th. When you look back at the teams every year, you draft a number of teams, whether it's main events or football guys, whatever it is. You look back on your first few drafts and like, oh my god, granted player evaluations, whatever, people move up and down. But you look back and like, what was I thinking would be like?
I need to cut this trip back to about 2.5 days.
Every season, right? You're just kind of starting off and, you're not into the groove yet.
Shit.
yeah, but at the same time, I don't, now these days there's more information on Twitter. You can see more draft boards and stuff. But there's no replacement.
I swear, I don't know who the hell these people are drafting because there's all these people left that shouldn't be
That's why I'm
here.
still going to do a lot of small drafts starting 11th, and I do a lot more drafts.
I know, it's like 15 people I can draft right
I
now.
can get caught up in a
It's
hurry.
a weird draft.
And, I know who are the great players out there.
Really
and,
sneaky.
Sometimes I respect their opinion
Jimmy
more than I
Graham.
do my own on guys. So it's just putting the whole puzzle together and then getting informed when the big guys get there.
Tight end.
Yeah,
You're
we'll be looking
next.
forward to that, obviously,
Sam
with
Darnold.
FFPC main event drafts
Hot damn.
starting in just a few weeks, and obviously the Planet Hollywood live events starting up shortly thereafter, leading up into week 1 of the NFL season. I know Chad will be participating in a lot of those big drafts that we have going on there, as well as the main event, too. Chad, thanks so much for chiming in tonight. Good luck the rest of the way in not only your Pros versus Joe's draft, but all your drafts last year. I know you're coming off a big 2018 season.
You are now on the clock.
Best of luck in 2019. And again, thanks so much for joining the program tonight, dude.
All right.
This is
Take
an
care.
easy
Have a good
pick for
rest of
me.
your evening, folks.
Thank you so much. That's Chad Schroeder. You can always follow him on Twitter at ChadSCH23, 19-time full-season national champ, and the inaugural winner of the FFPC main event way back in the day. It's been a while since that's happened.
Now,
Year
you're on the
11,
clock.
Am I correct in saying, or is it year 12? It's year 12 of the FFPC?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, perfect. Well, at least we're
not nostalgic or anything too much.
No, not too much.
When did you start with this change firm?
For the FFPC, I was not I was an independent contractor for the first year, and I did not like it because I remember that first year I was not out in Vegas. I was back right here at home.
Well, first of all, you boxed it by having your kid on the weekend.
Hold on. Okay, couple of things there. Let's just unpack that. Number one, I was working for the FFPC long before my firstborn was born.
Yeah.
Number two, my kid was born over a month early. So I scheduled this out properly, and it's his damn fault that he couldn't put up with his mother anymore, and he had to get some separation from her. I remember Lance Turvis when we, because we do a lot of work Saturday night.
He kept talking. That's what he said.
Yeah, he didn't say that. But we sent out, we do a lot of work Saturday night and then early Sunday morning of inputting lineups. Now, we've automated a certain amount of that over the years. But back in the day, you and I were still working.
I went Jamal Williams over Ballage
everything squared away. And we had to send on
I know
email early Sunday morning.
I know what PPR value that we have in Drake, regardless.
Find an emergency flight home.
Yeah, I'm well aware of it. Because I was out until 4 in the morning.
Right, yeah.
I was still drunk and
Well, I hope so.
drunk over, whatever the hell you call it.
Yeah.
And they're telling me the story, and I'm like, you got stuck.
Damn.
And I'm like, well, dude, that really sucks for me more than
Right.
you almost.
So then what happened was you sent out this email saying, hey, the lineups are gonna be a little bit delayed, we had, Balky had a family emergency. And then, we posted the photo of my kid being born, it was early Monday morning, it ended up happening. And we posted a photo of that.
You can stay to the
Yeah, there's no stopping
That was
us now.
the gist of it.
What a bummer.
And Lance, and I'll tell you the Breaking Bad story, shortly, we'll get back to the
About to
traffic
put the-
on it. But Lance Service at Fort Benning Man said, Lucas is my son, he's like, Lucas just had to come out for week 1 of the NFL season, he couldn't wait anymore, and I'll never forget that was funny.
Yeah, the 2 Monday night games.
But I ended up, and I'll, plenty of listeners have heard this story, which I'll be pretty brief on it, but I missed the last flight directly from Vegas to Appleton by about 20 minutes, and then I had to fly to Atlanta and then back to Appleton, literally flew around the country. I got back, I was finally in the hotel room the hospital room at about 8:30 at night. My wife was getting the epidural, and not a fan of seeing me at that point. She was in some pain. And Breaking Bad, a show that you and I both liked, was going off the air at that time. And they were counting down the final few episodes. It was probably the third last episode. And I missed it because I was in the airplane. And so I was up with my wife, holding her hand and being nice to her.
Can I interrupt you a little bit?
Sure.
You were able to watch some games on the way to and from a little bit, right?
Well, no, here's the thing. I did.
I thought you bought the internet.
Well, no, I don't want my wife, she's not going to listen to this, but yeah, I was watching it. But the thing is, I was connected to the internet, and I was Facebook messaging her sister-in-law and her friend, who was in the room. And then I lost internet on the last flight with about 40 minutes to go on the flight. And I'm thinking to myself, I could be a father right now, and I don't even know it, because this kid could have been born. Now, thankfully, he wasn't. But to get back to the Breaking Bad thing, I missed it on Sunday night because I was in the airplane. And I'm with my wife, and we're kind of figuring things out. She's not in labor yet or whatever. And then the replay comes on AMC of the Breaking Bad. Now, I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know.
How many meters that way?
I can't remember at this point.
How many? 1 meter. It was.
Yeah.
1 meter.
She was 4 meters dilated, Dave. Then they sent her to ICU right after that. I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but this is the episode where there was the shootout in the desert.
Or what's the name? The ball guy got killed.
Yes.
What's the name?
ASAP Schrader. Hank Schrader.
Yeah.
And
he didn't see a tough shit.
It's right. So I'm halfway through this episode, and this was the replay that's on at 3 in the morning. And I'm halfway through, and it goes to commercial. The nurse comes in, and she checks my wife out. She's like, "Okay, well, I think we can start pushing if you're ready." And my wife, I'm like, "Oh, no, you can't do this now." About a half hour, about halfway through, and my wife hesitated, and she said, I don't know. And I said, you know what? She's not ready yet. Let's give it a little bit. We'll see what happens. Whatever. And the nurse's like, okay, that's fine. And I'm like, oh, perfect. And then she leaves right as it's starting back from commercial. I'm like, oh, this is meant to be right here. So I ended up seeing the episode. My kid got born at 5:30 in the morning. He was a little underweight, but all was well after that. And so it was a fun one. Yeah. So very excited.
You are right
My
next.
second kid's birth was not nearly as stressful as that one was. Getting back to the draft, and I promised you we would do it.
That was great.
10-01, Josh Allen to Eric Moody as his backup quarterback to Deshaun Watson. Jalen Samuels right after that, the number 4 running back drafted by Rich Risinger and Lou Ditta. Geronimo Allison for the second straight night, Dave. We get the Packers stack of receivers here. Dalvin
Now
Scantling
you are on the
ninth,
clock.
and then Allison in the 10th to Darren Armani. Maybe he saw that last night and said, I got to have that.
Carlos
Ben
Hyde,
Roethlisberger as the backup quarterback to Patrick Mahomes
a
here
wide
for
receiver,
Sorecki.
or
And then
Derek
Jimmy
Carr.
Garoppolo backing up Kyler Murray for Rob Wozniak from the Fantasy Footballers. Kirk Cousins is the backup quarterback for for Chris Carlson's team for Dak Prescott. And
Carr's got
sorry,
the same body.
got
Shit.
some technical difficulties here, and they're Philip Rivers backing up.
So
the
Carlos Hyde,
Anonua, as he now has 2 quarterbacks on his team. Marvin Jones, the
or a
before
QB.
5th receiver drafted by Howard
What?
and Yarborough here tonight in the 10th round. Larry Fitzgerald, the number 3
I can't hear you, I'm
receiver,
sorry.
drafted by Mike Nazareth. This is interesting. He doesn't take a 3rd receiver until round 10. How will it end up? Stay tuned and find out.
That's it.
Portland
3
Sutton
players.
off the board to Chad Schroeder here. It's his number 3 receiver. So again, two long-time, Mike Nazareth is technically a pro in this competition. He is a former FFPC
Take who?
main event league champion, so he knows his way around these drafts.
Yeah, Mike does play FFPC every single year. He's a super loyal, outstanding, awesome player.
Yeah, and a guy that you don't really want to see in your league because he's been very successful.
I'm fine with
Most of these
going
guys
10.
don't take their third receiver until round 10. Again,
Yeah, I like
best ball.
Will Fan a lot too.
Mark Andrews, Dave, who I think I said in the chat earlier, I'm really starting to like him. Josh Hornsby gets him as his backup tight end, and then Deshaun Jackson off the board to Dave Sherman with the final pick of the 10th round. Okay, so that is the 10th round. Let's go through the 11th here.
Yeah, let's do this drafting his third
and look
quarterback.
at each of these teams. Tyrell Williams, a favorite of yours apparently, as far as where he's going, and FFPC best ballers are taking him currently at the 1403. Now, Dave Sherman reached out and grabbed him here at the 11th to make sure he got him on his team. The Raiders are going to have a little bit of a different look this year as they have added Antonio Brown, they have added Josh Jacobs. You look at this squad, I just want to ask you here, as Tyrell Williams joins the Raiders as well, what is it about Williams on the Raiders this year that has you liking him given his draft spot?
I can barely hear you.
Well, I mean, Derek Carr's going to go for
All right, bye.
30x number of yards.
3,800, that seem right?
Sure. Captain's all right. If Antonio Brown is command a lot of looks, but Tyrell Williams is in his prime. He's moved from one team to the other. He's definitely number 2 receiver there. Darren Waller is their tight end, so he's not going to command many looks. I think that Williams he's just a solid player. With Antonio Brown,
Right, that's better.
a lot of coverage. I think that Williams will get a.
All right, what the hell did you say?
Having said that, I think I would have looked at. I don't know. It's tough to take Williams that much sooner than his ADP.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the fact that I knew his ADP, I would have probably waited until his 12th, 13th turn and taken the shot at him. Where did you guys get him? 14, 13?
1403.
That's kind of 7,000 Williams is looking for you at 12, 13 turns. I probably gone somewhere else.
Okay, so you like them, but you don't love them.
I mean, having said that, I would probably take Williams over Jack. I like the G. Westbrook. I think Emmanuel Sanders, his best ball is
Between Hopkins,
he's
Boyd, Landry, Shepard, Jones, we're fine.
there's no one else really down there, so,
Foreman and Williams, we're fine.
I like this,
I mean, obviously stuff, but I mean, beyond him.
right. Josh Hornsby at 1102 here tonight, they take a guy that I'm really becoming a fan of. He actually is back-to-back picks, the guy I'm really warming up to. Mark Andrews, and then Damian Harris. Yeah, he gets him in the early 11th tonight. I like that pick. I actually like Chad Silver's picking Lee Westbrook at the 1103 tonight. That makes some sense too. Emmanuel Sanders to Mike Nazareth. Right after that, that is his 4th receiver. So you have Fitz and Sanders to try to shore up that receiver position. Deontay Foreman right after that. We talked about him earlier, but Howard and Yarborough. And then Jordan Reed backing up Travis Kelce as his number 2 tight end. That's football diehard Bob Harris. Dallas Goedert is the starting tight end for Chris Carlson. LaShawn McCoy right after that is the number 4 running back for Rob Wozniak. A couple of tight ends here. What's really the tight end route? Delaney Walker to Skorupski and Clement. Jack Doyle right after that to Darren Armani is his number 2 tight end. Ito Smith. All you see Ito here for Rich Risinger and Lou Ditta as their number 5 running back. Greg Olson backing up Trey Burton for Fantasy Data's Eric Moody to end the 11th round. Dave?
Yeah, I agree with that.
No, I thought you had a point that you wanted
Well,
to
the 11th round is that tight end round. So if you only had one tight end, or if your team 5 had 0, and you decided not to take one, you made a mistake. So I think that no.
And that was Carlson? You're pointing out, are you calling him out? You're calling out the tickler?
No, Ray Powers and Tyson Yarborough, and team 5, they don't have a tight end.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And round 11, they're still, and then I'll start taking their second tight end, and they're still sitting there with 0, and they draft other players. I think that's not what you want to be doing. I think that's not ideal.
However, they do have a certain advantage at both receiver and running back, which we'll get into in a little bit here.
Yeah, that's fine. We will talk about it. You're right.
One of those things that, it still seems like this is year 12 of the FFPC, and still the philosophy of drafting tight ends and how many tight ends and when to draft them is arguably the most polarizing conversation. You go on that FFPC Twitter, and there's a ton of people arguing, you've got to get an elite one. You've got to have 2 after X round. you got to have 3 after X round. Oh, you don't need to take one until this round. You don't need to take one until you have this. This is what your roster construction looks like. It is so polarizing. The conversation it's never ending. And I listen. I don't want to equate this to this. I am not equating it to this. But it's sort of like the abortion law in this country. It's always sort of like a polarizing political topic, and it seems like there's a huge portion.
He's talking about because we didn't have any tight ends through round 11.
There's a few in the middle, and I don't think we're ever going to get like a firm answer on where it's going to go. And just in that same regard, I don't think we're going to get a firm answer on the right way to draft tight ends. We brought Don Metter up.
I'm like, if you can't win,
we've seen kids load up on them and win a 6-figure draft time. So I think there's a lot of different ways.
if you can't land one of the top 4 or 5 that you know, then there's no point of wearing them. You plug and play your guys. You get those ones that you know.
1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end.
What are you talking about?
And 2 flexes.
I'm just telling you what these guys are saying.
What you want to do is tight ends get a 1.5 per catch in this format as well. So that is the way you're looking at it, and this is why some of these teams end up looking the way that they do tonight. All right, we do have roughly a little bit less than a half hour of the program tonight. Let's get into some team analysis, and then we'll put a bow on the pros.
Look, stay on track here. I think we're good. I just think we need to draft at least 4 tight ends, and we'll be fine.
We'll try to fix that, Dave, with our Sherman Pride. More to come on that. Dave Sherman was drafted first running back Christian McCaffrey, Melvin Gordon, Kerryon Johnson, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we draft 4, we should be good.
Jackson, Tyrell Williams, tight ends Eric Ebron, TJ Hawkinson, quarterbacks Russell Wilson, and Jared Goff. Now, bear in mind, we're not quite halfway through this draft, so there is a lot of ways that he can still add to the depth on his team. But I think as long as, even the fact that he gets Eckler with Melvin Gordon, I think that mitigates the Gordon risk a little bit, so I like what he did there. The receivers are a little bit of a question mark.
Yeah, so why don't you load those fuckers up and load them up in the queue.
About Tyrell Williams earlier.
Load them up in the queue.
Ebron is the number 1 tight end, but I like Hawkinson as the backup tight end here for Sherman, and I love the quarterback. So a competitive team drafted by the FFC.
I'm streaming this though. I'm trying to some of the guys are watching.
I think it actually works out really nicely for him. And Kerryon Johnson, I know.
I did tell you that.
Putting Johnson moving up because what's his name?
Yeah, when the fuck did you think I was going to start streaming? In the 15th round? We're gonna be streaming rounds 25 through 28 tonight.
DJ Moore is your round. I love DJ Moore.
Look, why don't you start helping in this draft in round 14, okay?
Need a breakout.
I'll tell you one of the favorite picks I like is that we got Foreman and we still got Jamal Williams. I know, me too. And Marvin Jones too, falling that far was pretty crazy. The 10th, almost 11th round.
Right, he does have the number 1 defense. The only defense off the board in the Bears at the final pick of the 12th round here. Josh Hornsby from RotoGrinders, FantasyADHD.com. David Johnson, James White, Miles Sanders, Damian Harris, Justice Hill at running back. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Robbie Anderson, Michael Gallup at receiver, Hunter Henry, Mark Andrews at tight end, Cam Newton, and Jameis Winston at quarterback. I feel like this has been a recurring theme for me, Dave. But after the top 3 receivers, I'm concerned at the depth, and he could certainly build that up, but I'm not a Michael Gallup guy. However, I will say this, there's a lot of explosive players on Josh Hornsby's team at every position.
Yeah, it does.
The difference between Team 1 and Team 2 is the top 3 receivers are Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, and Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is a pretty solid number 1 player. And he's semi-proven.
You are up
He's not a
next.
breakout guy. He's a player you should expect.
Yeah, there went Waller.
David Johnson, White, Sanders has upside and downside.
Now you are on the clock.
Henry and Andrews is really solid kind of combo, and Newton and Winston are really good.
Right.
Overall, pretty solid team. The argument about David Johnson as a 2-pick, I mean, people are gonna talk about that a little bit.
There actually, I went on Josh's Twitter feed,
Kiss.
and somebody said, "Hey, good draft so far, but why David Johnson over Barkley at 2?" And Josh retweeted it and did the comment, "I like David Johnson."
Do you not know how to add players to the queue?
You cannot beat that argument.
Whoa, why?
Because I like him better. All right, so, yeah. Let's move on to see what the
Add some fucking tight ends to the queue, you bastard.
From the 3 spot, Barkley, James Conner, David Jones, Deion Lewis, and Justin Jackson here. Tyler Lockett, Allen Robinson.
Yeah, the force of that brownie bite.
Tight ends are O.J. Howard, Jared Cook, Carson Wentz, and Matt Ryan at quarterback. So, Dave, I look at this squad. I think the I'm not
Listen,
O.J. Howard.
I'm about to.
But value. Jared Cook there also helping out the tight end depth. We'll see what he
That's
does.
alright.
going forward
Where
here.
you shit's the
And
same
then
place
we
you're
have,
gonna sleep on that
Wentz.
long,
I like
so it don't
the
matter.
running back is solid. We'll see what happens there, but there's some breakout potential for Chad Schroeder.
Shit.
Yeah, I think I covered Chad's team a little bit earlier, so I'm just gonna stand by what I said. I really like Portland Sutton and D. Westbrook.
Right.
Overall solid team, actually. I think he's done well for himself.
Yeah, and the fact that you have Justin Jackson, we'll see what happens there with the Gordon situation. I always like getting those mid-range or mid-round catching running backs. And yeah, Lewis certainly
Look, what do you think about this,
You can't get
too?
much better
What about let's grab
that he goes with in the first 3 rounds.
let's grab
We'll see
Ryan
what Chad does
Fitzpatrick,
in the final.
because man, you know that fucker can put up some big games too.
FFMastermind.com's Michael Nazareth, his running backs, Alvin Kamara, Philip Lindsay, Gordon Howard, Kalen Balazs, receivers, Keenan Allen, Kenny Galladay, Larry Fitzgerald, Emmanuel Sanders, and John Brown.
What about Mariota? They both run, and Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick can throw a lot though.
He just takes Jason Witten as his number 3 tight end here at the 14.09 as well. So the tight ends are really, really good.
I kind of like Fitzpatrick, man, as a third quarterback.
Where it's there, and then you pepper in Jordan Howard. We're not the biggest fans of, but he should get a lot of touches. Maybe not targets, but touches for sure. And then Kalen Balazs, who's been rising up draft boards.
He's the number 1 in the Dolphins.
You don't see
Yeah.
you take a wide receiver until the 10th round after he goes with Allen and Galladay. But I like the depth there. Fitz Sanders and John Brown. I mean, that's a good best ball guy right there. You're seeing the veteran experience of Michael Nazareth showing.
Yeah, he was
here
fucking
in
terrible.
Draft construction.
Yeah, I actually like the Nazareth team. Space things out pretty well, right? I mean, you take, even though he took Cooper, again, I probably would not have gone with Cooper there, that's kind of fine. But he took Cooper, he got Kittle, so he's got really good tight ends. I mean, really good. And for receivers, you have Allen and Galladay, but then he ends up getting that veteran depth. Fitz, Emmanuel Sanders, John Brown. I mean, I'm not a big John Brown fan, but if he doesn't have that sickle cell trait going on, it's no problem. He's a player. And the Kalen Balazs pick is a kind of a super value. So his running backs are a little bit, running back depth is a tad bit weak.
Right.
There's Kamara and Lindsay, that's 2 starters. I mean, what more do you want? That's pretty good. I like the team a lot, actually.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this team later on. Spoiler alert as far as a future guest on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, but we'll get into more of that with Michael Nazareth. Ray Howard.
They're talking about our team now, listen.
I have the 5th pick tonight. Here's what they did from that slot. Todd Gurley, Aaron Jones, Mark Ingram, Dante Foreman, Jamal Williams. Receivers are DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, Sterling Shepard, Marvin Jones. Tight end is Noah Fant, Mitchell Trubisky, and Andy Dalton are the quarterbacks. So, Dave, here's the thing. Love the running back depth. I'm a fan of the receivers, but it came at a price. And that price was Noah Fant is your tight end in round 13, and he needs to make sure that he gets a third quarterback here coming up pretty quick. I should say Zane.
Listen.
I find it, again, the running backs, receivers are fantastic, and like you said, I don't really mind, truthfully, I don't really mind Trubisky and Dalton, and let's say they grab, XYZ, some other player that may emerge, and there's a few, right, a couple.
Right.
So the quarterbacks are okay, but with Fant is your number 1, and players like Witten are going off the board now. I just feel like you've blown the tight end position to the point you cannot come back from it. So I feel like this team, in spite of the fact that everything else is good, is done for.
Oh, really?
I do. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, rookie tight end is your number 1. I mean, what are you looking at? Gerald Everett and some other crap. I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, there's not a lot of...
The failed state, Darren Waller's off the board, too, which is...
Yeah, right. So you're looking at guys getting hurt and so on for your number 2 and 3 tight ends. I just feel like it's just not happening. One thing we're really mentioning real quick is, he's 1, 3, 5, and 7, all Joes, all FFPC players,
Right.
all in their first 4 rounds have 3 running backs. I thought that was interesting.
I didn't notice that till you pointed that out, but good eyes, and ladies and gentlemen, he's not wearing glasses, so that is the eagle eye of the Dizzle tonight. That's why he's the patron saint of fantasy football,
Not drinking White Claws either.
and that's my issue. Let's go to football diehards, Bob Harris here in the 6th spot. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, Darius Geis, Kevin Coleman, Naheem Hines at running back, Adam Thielen, Brandon Cooks, Corey Davis at receiver, Travis Kelce, Jordan Reed, Tyler Eifert at tight end, Lamar Jackson, Philip Rivers, and Derek Carr at quarterback. You look at Bob's squad, Dave, and I think what stands out to me is
He said our team's done for.
You are up next.
He did, really.
Tight ends by the round.
He said our team's done for because we have Noah Fant as our number 1 tight end.
Hold up that receiver depth after going Thielen, Cooks, and Corey Davis, and nothing since then. That
Bullshit.
his success is going to be determined to, because I think he did a very good job at all the other positions.
Yeah, and the thing is, this draft went a little.
We'll ask him at the end of the year what he thinks.
So we're still in the 15th round. Remember that one draft we were talking about the Packers?
Yeah, listen, they're all different.
Yeah, they are all different. I think, there's still some receivers out there. Somebody get Harrison Card, the easy over
It is recorded. I'm recording it right now.
I was looking back on the team, because we had DJ Moore, Kirk, Deshaun Watson, Tyrell Williams.
And it's on their show. It's on radio.
I think so too. I feel like the Tyrell Williams, Isabel, I think those two together. I don't know, for whatever reason, I like both of them.
Yeah.
So then I instantly like it.
And you like him too, I think, is the number 2 tight end.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, he's both Ebron and Hawkins, both drafted on the line, both top 10 picks.
Right.
Now on different teams, but Hawkinson's a pretty elite talent. Anyway,
For the other issues, I think that Perkins with Dave Sherman tonight. Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore,
Now you're on the clock.
Alright, we're up.
Isabella.
I would have not taken Ebron though. That's
No, okay, well,
I mean, there's a lot of picks on
he
it.
won that.
Defense.
Apparently.
Yeah, there's a pick we'll have the same first name and a lot of the same things.
From
I
the
expect about
Who's another tight end you like?
That's what all I had to say with Bob Harris, unless you had anything else.
Well, I actually really like the team in spite of the fact that we only have 3 receivers right now.
Big draft philosophy question here, Dave. If you are going to be weak heading into the second round, or excuse me, the second half of the 28-round draft, what position do you want to be weak at? You cannot say kicker or defense.
Where do I want to be?
Where do you want to be weak at one position? What's the one position that you feel like you can build up enough depth to make your team not only competitive, but a team that can win the whole thing?
It's not a risk. It's in the 15th round. Shit. Olsen's foot, I mean, it doesn't show it ain't. It's not really holding up for him.
Yeah, so your question is like, I got crappy forward, initiated Trump to this or that, blah, 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 blah. I think that if I have 2 good quarterbacks, I think it's sacrificing a third one is fine.
Yeah.
If I have 2 good tight ends, sacrificing a third one there is fine.
Sure.
So I don't think that necessarily receiver is not the answer.
Okay. All right. So,
I will say that it's tough, the later, like after right about now, I think around 14, the running backs get really bad. I mean, it just gets to be like, okay, I can't pick anyone.
it's all handcuffs and opportunity at this point.
No, it's actually below that. It's now it's like the handcuff opportunity are gone. It's like, Gus Edwards.
I guess, okay, so dreams.
Yeah, it's like crap.
So
It's like Darwin Thompson or
Bruce Anderson.
Yeah, right. Bruce Anderson, the guy behind the guy. If you're talking swingers level running back,
Yeah.
that should be something, a team name or whatever. If you're the guy behind the guy,
Can you
want to
think,
draft the guy
can you
behind
think entire like audio
All right, from the
till the end of the year?
Devils to the football diehard to the tickler here with Ezekiel Elliott, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Rashad Penny, Carlos Hyde, our
Do what?
Christmas running back, Julian Edelman, Cooper Kupp, Dante Pettis, Curtis Daniel, and Devin Funchess.
What did you say?
Tight end Dallas Goddard and Darren Waller, and then quarterback Scott, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I already told you it is.
I like those quarterbacks. That's a good trio right there. I'm questioning a little bit waiting until round 11 to draft your starter. Again, this is not the first time we've seen Dallas Goddard as the number 1 tight end for a team in the pros versus Joe's, where he's not the number 1 tight end on his own team. The fact that he started off with 3 high volume running backs, that should work in his favor. Edelman is going to be good. Pettis is certainly a breakout candidate. I like Curtis Samuel. Devin Funchess in the 15th. I mean, say what you will about him, but he should be catching passes from Andrew Luck. And then we'll see how fast Cooper Kupp rebounds. But I think this squad sort of comes down, Dave, to wide receiver health, and if he can catch lightning in a bottle here with maybe a third or maybe a fourth tight end.
Yeah, if Goddard gets enough targets or if Waller emerges, he could be in pretty good shape. You know, it's funny because he actually, I felt like he ran the quarterbacks kind of properly. Not that, I mean, he could have gotten better, of course, right? But because he did wait, he still ended up getting Prescott, Cousins, and Darnold. He pushed the quarterbacks. He took Darnold, and he knew he kind of had to get a third one. So that was a really good decision.
Yep.
You know, the first 8 picks are, pretty outstanding. I can't complain.
Are you a Pettis guy? Just seriously?
I'm really not, but I mean, honestly, like,
Is it number 3, whatever? Okay.
no, it's fine. I mean, when you have, 4 backs and 4 receivers in 8 rounds, they're going to look pretty good overall.
Right.
But he does need some, if
Oops. Trying to get back to the damn broadcast. Hold on. There it goes.
every single one was way over ADP. Cohen and Montgomery, maybe not. Montgomery might have been a value. QT is a reach for ADP. McKinnon in the 9th round, ADP reach. So when you have all those so-called reaches, when QT is your number 4, but then you're punching running back, it becomes a little bit problematic. So I don't, no offense, don't care for the way this team turned out because you reached on pretty much all of your super important positions. So I'm not a fan.
Okay. All right. So you're not a fan of that spot. We'll see how it develops over the course of the second half of this draft. It is Team Gossamer at the 9 pick tonight, Dave. That is Timothy Skarecki and Richard Clement. Here's what they did with their 9 slot. Derrick Henry, Chris Carson, Latavius Murray, and Chris Thompson at running back. Receiver there, Devontae Adams, Alshon Jeffries, Sammy Watkins, Golden Tate, DK Metcalf, and Kenny Still. And then you have, I'm abusing it. I know it's the last night. Just give it to me. Zach Ertz, Kyle Rudolph, and Delaney Walker at tight end, Patrick Mahomes, and Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback. Needs a third quarterback, but I like the top 2. I like the tight end combination here that he got. And, say what you will about these receivers, but, I mean, Alshon Jeffrey is still going to put up points. Sammy Watkins should still put up points with that, he gets the hook up there with Patrick Mahomes. Golden Tate, I thought, was a good value in this. Well, we'll see what happens with DK Metcalf. I've always been a Kenny Stills guy. I guess the question for me is, how many passes are these early round running backs going to catch for him with Henry and Carson and Murray? He gets a pass catcher with Chris Thompson, but that guy's no stranger to the training table. So the running backs for me are the question mark for Gossamer's team here with Skarecki and Clement.
Yeah, normally I would generally kind of hate a team that would take Ertz and then Mahomes. I thought the Mahomes pick was kind of a reach. But he accounted for himself pretty well, in my opinion. I feel like I look at the rest of his picks, like almost all of them, and I feel like I can explain them all to myself. I'll be like, okay, Henry the 4th, Carson the 5th, that's cool. He needs the receivers, Jeffrey, Watkins. Latavius Murray in the 8th round is a nice value. And then Ertz with Rudolph style and Mahomes, and then you get Big Ben. And then you get Delaney Walker as your 3rd tight end. Then Golden Tate, the successor. And then Chris Thompson had some passes. DK Metcalf from Stocks, but he runs for 1, fell on a route. And Kenny still touched 2 touchdowns in practice the other day. DK Metcalf, pretty good play, right? It actually turns out, with all you put all that crap together, it turns out to be a pretty good piece of, pretty good soup.
For what it's worth, DK Metcalf can run one route.
Yeah, the goal or the stop.
Right. Can he run the stop?
I don't know.
I don't think he can run the stop. I think he can run the go.
And then you just took Jalen Richard over there, catching passes.
Jalen Richard.
Well,
Oh, is that what we're doing? We're doing Richard? Yeah. So it's,
Jalen Richard.
Yeah,
Why is Richard? Is he French?
I don't know.
Or he look French? too?
He doesn't look French to me, but maybe it does. Darren Armani from FantasyMojo.com. Check out all the great stuff that he has there. And the Godfather, as opposed to Joe's competition, the guy that throws this whole thing together each and every year, drafting from the 10th spot tonight. Le'Veon Bell, Marlon Mack, Darrell Henderson, Tony Pollard, Malcolm Brown, receivers Julio Jones, T.Y. Hilton, Calvin Ridley, Marcus Zelda, Scantling, Geronimo Allison, Anthony Miller, tight ends Vance McDonald, Zach Doyle, Mike Gesicki, Baker Mayfield, and Tom Brady at the quarterback. I think Darren Armani did two things really
Do what,
good.
man?
One, he paid attention to where these guys are going in the previous five quarters of the Steelers draft, and I think he put together a very balanced squad here. I like the receivers, I like the running back.
Yeah, he already went.
Getting 3 tight ends by round 13.
Yeah.
Let's see if he gets the third quarterback here, but Mayfield and Brady are certainly a good start. So, Dave, I like this team.
You know what's funny is he, first of all, he's really trusted, especially ADP-wise.
You are up next.
Yeah, Mack and Hilton's fantastic.
All right, who's your next tight end?
Ridley Peckler's solid. Henderson's second damn good.
Now you are on the clock.
Right.
And then, so then, okay, you pick Mayfield in the 8th, and then I'm like, you turn around in the 9th, and there's just, I could
Okay.
not. There's no way I could get done by taking MVS, ignoring quarterback,
Right.
and then taking Allison right after that, which actually was it's a shrewd combination.
Packers stack, yeah.
Yeah, Packers stack. And then so he, in my opinion, again, this is at the time, he blows that, right? And then so then he ignores it. And then after that, and I would be so tempted.
Oh, yeah.
Big Ben, Garoppolo, Cousins, and Rivers all. I'm like, oh my God, whatever, you know. And then in the 11th round, he still cast on quarterback. Takes Jack away, right? And then so much great.
Yeah.
So usually when we have two quarterbacks, I feel like he did fine. I felt like I would have drafted so much differently there. I feel like he did way better than I could have done, given the stresses of that situation.
Well, he's a shrewd drafter,
He's doing a nice job.
Yeah.
He did way better than I would have done like that.
and a lot of Colts on that team. Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, Jack Doyle. We'll see how that ends
That's
up.
a good thing. That's a good thing.
Rich Rissinger and Lou Ditta were the 11th spot tonight. Devon